I'm gonna do the Bible study now. The movie was great. If I wait till tomorrow, I'll forget what I'm gonna do. Not that complicated either, but I'll be on to something else. Something else will happen around here. Life will happen. And I'll live and have my being in Him while it's occurring. They mentioned something interesting in this movie about the Count of Monte Cristo. I've heard his name several times in movies when they're dealing with somebody being imprisoned. Because the Count was all for daydreaming and believing in the impossible and not putting stress on himself by what he sees around him. He was walking by faith and not by sight. All right. So you can do that today and keep your feet on the ground if you just understand really in simple logic where we are in the story and who's saying what to whom. Okay? We're going to go back to an eyewitness account. Matthew, who was one of the 12, chosen by Jesus, and there were some when the replacement apostle was chosen, as I mentioned before, all these guys had to be with him from the beginning, from John the Baptist to the death, burial, and resurrection. But Matthew says in chapter 7, verses 1 through 5, I believe it is. I don't read yesterday's news that often. I need to get a better understanding of what's going on today that you can't see. This is what you can see, all right? Because he's in sandals now, Jesus, and he's standing on the ground. Judge not that ye not be judged, for with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye mete, it shall be measured to you again. So he's talking law there. And he's also saying that on that day, many, well, first of all, you know what day it is. Okay, on that day is the great and terrible day of the Lord. Great for some, and terrible for others. And every eye shall see him after the orbs are darkened. This is Matthew 24 stuff. Again, feet still on the ground. The Pharisees were on him because they weren't very fair, you see. And the Sadducees were on him because they didn't believe in a resurrection from the dead. Those people resurrected, their feet on the ground, saying things like, Lord, didn't we do this to enter into your kingdom here on earth? Now, this is what they don't tell you as they go back and forth between the divides. There's more than just one divide, too. It's not just the cross, but we're dealing with the death, burial, and resurrection, okay? What came after? Well, let's get the very first words. The very first exchange is recorded in the Word of God. You go to Acts, all right? John's Gospel was written long. It's written further on down as people started to gain a greater understanding. But these are the words. This is the exchange. Verse 6, chapter 1 of Acts. When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, this is the resurrected Lord now, with what appears to be a physical body that can walk through walls. Again, back to the Count of Monte Cristo. Dare to imagine the impossible being possible for this big God, hopefully, that you believe in, that's everywhere and not just in your little box. Okay, so they asked him, wilt thou at this time, right now, restore again the kingdom to Israel? And the guys on the road to Amos were downhearted because they were expecting a king, a ruler, to show that Israel was something special among the other nations, who, by the way, in their time of darkened, futile understanding up here in their own imprisoned mind, God winked at previous indiscretions because he knew something that he kept hid and didn't reveal until Paul. So if you're not even on board with that, then you're telling people, many will say to me, yeah, well, what about old people then? I mean, just look at it literally. I'm sorry, Lord, I'm 85. Where am I? So I mean, I don't know. It's just crazy. But that's it for now. Tomorrow's a new day, and let's stay in the moment and fear not. It's I love the way it was put in the movie, because I never read the book, but I've heard the theme in so many movies. It's basically, do you want to be imprisoned in your own mind, thinking about a fiery hell? That again, see, then you have to dig further and realize that death is the last enemy. Look at your neighbor who's breathing. Are they deaf? No, they have the soul in them that God breathed into him when he created all living things that breathe. Okay? So he already has life, and he has the ability to reason with his five senses in the physical realm, and God's a spirit now, a life-giving spirit, Jesus Christ, who's free to roam about and paint pictures and show people things. And so you just want to limit him in such a way, and based on superstition, basically, and dreams and things. Because Jesus talked about body and soul, did he not? They both go in to some place. Well, yeah, sure. If I stop breathing, I stop thinking, right? I stop thinking about this realm and these, what I see and taste and touch and all of this stuff. But it's the spirit that he quickens, the hidden treasure, the deep calling to deep, that the shallow in denominational churchianity just can't seem to reach down into and find it in their hearts. Not it, but him. But we love them too. So if you have complaints, want to argue this out, I said 2 times we go around, you're free to stay, and people who do hang around with me, a handful, if they want to talk to you, they will. And if not, that's their choice. We never get to tell anybody what to do. The minute you do, it's back on you. Until later.